Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pro Crastinators podcast, your favorite and most lucrative friendship simulator. I am the best guy ever, and today we're joined by Lethal Aurora Mage.
Hello.
How deadly of you. And Tom Oliver.
I am here. Games are pumping through my blood and my veins and my brain, and my synapses are firing up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Let's do this.
Why is it
indeed.
never just hello with you people? Why can't you just say hello?
Because you have the domination, the sole proprietor license to use hello. The rest of us have to come up with something clever every time because you
I think there's a
got that on lock.
I feel a spirit of one-upsmanship, that I want to be the best and to trounce everyone else with my magic comedy skills. I don't usually succeed or anywhere close to it.
No, me neither. It's Mage just takes the safe, effective route every time. It works, and she keeps going with it, and we just keep botching it, trying to be entertaining clowns.
I gotta cue up that soundbite. She's such a normie.
No.
One day I'll have that soundboard actually working. I should take Bitterthorn's advice and get that stuff set up. And that
how have we gone 131 episodes and not have a soundboard? It just seems...
Some people don't like the idea of a soundboard.
I don't like the sound of some people, like those people, and the words they're making about soundboards.
Oh, guys, did you just hear that noise?
Mm-hmm.
No,
I did not. Why? What was it?
It was my alarm for the podcast. It was supposed to be an hour before, or like half an hour before, but I'm guessing
off.
No. I'm guessing what happened is daylight savings.
Oh, did that? Why is it daylight savings switches every fucking week of the year? Is what it feels like.
Okay, can we talk about time zones and how they're bullshit and how?
Oh, people know.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
Just watch that video.
How is this so complicated?
There's a great video by, what was it? Who was it? It's like why time zones suck, or something about why making a clock sucks, or something like that.
Why making a clock sucks.
It was something about why programming a digital timekeeper is such a pain, because the rules of time zones are so crazy.
It is.
And actually, I remember I think the most. So there, first of all, there's just straight up time zones. Then there's daylight savings time, which does not stay consistent between places. Then there's London has its own kind of system where it switches actual time zones or something. Then there's, and I think the worst example of all was I think it's actually the Gaza Strip. Actually, between Palestine and Israel, I think they actually are in different time zones. And it's now you have to get political with what time you decide it is in this region of the world. And it's well, shit, man, I didn't sign up for this.
It's interesting.
Whatever video that is great. I can't remember.
I remember even weirder is that back in the day, I was big into conspiracy theory videos, and I watched them all the time. And I watched this one conspiracy documentary called Kymatica. And in it, there was this guy who was talking about how clocks and time itself is a conspiracy. About how
what way?
I don't remember exactly. It's been forever, but I just remember him he's we're all slaves to the watch, and that time is an unnatural way of humans to track things, and it was developed specifically to keep us tethered to a false reality. And that humans are supposed to be more organic in their experiences, and we're all fucking ourselves over and losing touch with our chakras by being a slave to the watch.
The thing about that is there is a nugget of logic to that. There is a core that sort of makes sense, because it's true. The 24-hour day cycle that we all do everything to it is reasonably artificial, but it's we've got to organize society some way, and this seems like a pretty reasonable way to do it.
Apparently not if you want to keep those chakras blitzed. That's what I learned from that. That was also the documentary that talked about maritime admiralty law. And that was some fucked up shit. You ever hear about that conspiracy?
Okay. As a conspiracy, no. What's the deal?
Okay, the idea behind maritime admiralty law is that everybody technically has two names. You have your personal name, and then you have your corporation name, and they're the exact same thing, except your corporation name is all in capital letters, and like on your birth certificate and stuff, it's in all capital letters. And the theory behind this is that every time, the reason you need a birth certificate in the first place is because every human being who's ever been born is technically not just a human, but also a piece of collateral that the government takes out against its loans. And so whenever they're referring to you in all capital letters, they're referring to the technical corporation of your personhood.
So I guess a corporation is people after all.
Exactly. But like the thing is that like these people also believe that if you go into court, when you're summoned to court, they're summoning you, the corporation, and not you, the human being. So you can just not go or just show up and be like, I'm not the person. Like you're trying to talk to the corporation and they're not here. It's just me, the person, and I'm going to ignore.
Is this one of these things that's like jury nullification, that like you're not supposed to know about it, but if you do...
I think that's the idea, but I think it's also bullshit, you know?
It doesn't sound like that's going to hold up.
No.
You know, when the cops come, I say, no, I just didn't show up to my, murder court appearance because I'm the person. You're looking for the corporation of Nate Bestman. That guy's elsewhere. Yeah, okay. That guy's based out of, like, I don't know, Dublin or something.
If you want to have some good sillies, go search Kymatica. It's like a 2009 documentary, and it's some crazy shit, dude.
You know, this just reminds me of, I think I've said it before, but if it's a separate thing, but it just reminds me of, like, in Japan, there's a law that's effectively, like, you're not allowed to drive, it's something about, like, in rain, you're not allowed to drive too close to the edge of the road or something. But like the wording of the law is something that is like, drive not near the edge of death in the rain, for there the skid demon lies. Or like something like that.
Oh God, imagine how much cooler history class would be if all our laws were written like that. Holy shit.
It was something like that, at least. Yeah, look it up. It's one of the, it was in like one of those like sounds fake but is real laws that's like of antiquity or something.
The best shit. The best shit.
Pretty good stuff.
Hey guys, I want to quickly I just want to quickly close the saga. I bought candy corn.
Oh, you did?
Shit.
Have you eaten it yet?
Yes, I have.
What do you think?
What's the conclusion?
It's okay.
That's yeah.
That's
it's quite different from what I expected it to be. But it's not as bad as a lot of people made it out to be. To those Lithuanians who are listening, it sort of reminds me of the candy called iresas in Lithuanian. It's not exactly the same. At least the ones I bought, they have a very strong honey taste to it.
A honey taste, okay.
Yeah, so it might be because of that.
Mage, you know what you have to do now? You have to get the companion candy to the candy corn, which is the candy pumpkins. They always come together. So now you got to go on another epic quest to get the candy pumpkins.
Yeah.
Which
candy corn's more ubiquitous, though.
It is more ubiquitous, but those are everywhere. They taste almost exactly the same. So it would be
probably made of the same material.
A largely useless quest, but I'm sending you on it anyway. Grind out that XP.
I have the option to refuse.
That's true.
You could, but you'll disappoint me greatly.
I appreciate the seasonal timeliness of this whole quest, which I guess is why it came up, because it's a Halloween candy thing.
Yeah.
But it gets me in the spirit. Although this episode will be airing after Halloween, so hope you're enjoying your post-Halloween lull, everybody.
Yeah, go to your candy bin that's sure full and grab some candy corn.
Everyone's on that Christmas hype now. Christmas.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. After Halloween, it's Christmas season has begun, basically.
You know what the best Christmas present is?
What's that?
Donating $5 or more to the Pro Crastinators on Patreon. We have a new bonus episode out, edited by Mage.
That's right.
Edited
it's out
over
now,
a hot coals of a After Effects rendering.
Yep.
Taking our CPU to a hot sizzle. It was a lot of work there. Do it.
I didn't use. In the end, I didn't end up using After Effects because it was just not agreeing. Yeah, it's just me and Ben.
What did you? So were you able to get like the animation stuff working?
Some of it, but not the mouth flaps. Sadly, it was just too much trouble. I'm sorry. There's no mouth flaps.
Hey, it's okay. Well, that's cool. I was gonna say, speaking of skid demons, with that law, I have a thing to bring up relevant to that exact thing, because I think I was visited by a skid demon actually multiple times. This is about my skateboarding exploits on my wife's skateboard, effectively. People were roasting me in my stream yesterday about that. Anyway, yeah. So I've been out e-skateboarding, and it's pretty great, doing Pokemon Go and loving it. But there's been 2 times now that I've wiped out hardcore, and it's been pretty brutal. The first time was definitely the work of a skid demon, and it was. I was going up this hill I've gone up many times before, this little ramp into like this big parking lot that I love to just go nuts and go max speed. And on the way up, there's always these grass clippings like across the blacktop leading in. And on this particular day, it was pretty wet outside. It had rained, and I go up and I just wipe the fuck out. And I scraped my elbow. My right elbow got a little fucked up. That wasn't that bad. That was okay. I got up and I hobble away, and I'm okay. But then there was a couple days ago, like 3 days ago, when I'm just skateboarding on the sidewalk, and I'm coming up, and there's a group of kids in front of me, and I'm like, actually, I had passed these kids. I had passed these kids on my way down, and they were like, "Whoa, dude, that's so cool!" And I was like, "Yeah, nothing personal, kid." As I max speed away from them, and I looked totally sick and cool. As I'm coming up, actually they ran alongside me like trying to keep up, but I just zoomed past them.
How were they? What would you say?
They're like, I don't know, like maybe late elementary school to early middle school kids, so like 12 or so, okay. Probably.
12 is numbers.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then on the way back, I see the same group of kids, and I'm like, well, they're kind of taking up the sidewalk. I don't want to cut through them. So what I do is I just skate off the edge of the sidewalk onto the street as I'm coming up towards my place. And so normally this can be a fine thing to do, but there's lots of times when the difference between the sidewalk and the road can be like over 2 inches, and this is one of those times. And if you're going straight and then you just kind of veer to the right a little bit, you get like one wheel basically off the thing, and the imbalance going at fairly high speed is just quite high. So I did this literally just to look cool to these kids that were thinking I was dope. Because I could have just stopped and gotten off, but no, you gotta do it in one motion. As I do this, the whole thing buckles, it goes like at a 45-degree angle, and I just go flying into the middle of the road, just fucking up my body bad. God. I scraped my hand terribly. I have many wounds on it.
Did you not wear gloves?
I was not wearing gloves.
I told you to wear gloves.
You did specifically suggest wearing gloves, and that would have been a very good idea. I was wearing a long sleeve shirt and jeans, thank God, because I tore up my jeans, still got multiple wounds, and my elbows got a little fucked up too. But the worst by far was my hand that was not covered in any clothes. And so I got a big gash. I've got a picture that I will upload momentarily.
No.
It's not of the wound, it's of my bandages. That's all it is. So there's nothing graphic there. Just to give people an idea of
is it like my favorite animes where it's just wrapped up in gauze and it just
that is what I used actually. I did use gauze.
Of course.
And
the shonen healing device, 100% effective every time.
And it's pretty cool. So you can see that in the links below, people, and I just uploaded it. So yeah, pretty fucked up.
Yep.
Hurt a lot. Still hurts.
Definitely looks like an anime.
So basically what I was going to say is, I think there was one time I was playing on the blacktop as a kid, where I got pushed. I was playing Foursquare or something, and I fell back and hit my head and like blacked out for a second, which technically counts as a concussion. But the thing is, that was probably the worst I've ever been hurt in my life, which is to say, I really haven't been hurt a lot. I've never broken a bone. Like, this scrape, like, stands out as one of the worst things I've ever done, and it really wasn't that bad, just kind of, got a couple of cuts and stuff. And so, I was just wondering if you guys have had, like, worse injuries than this. Like, have you ever... I know Tom has had some issues where his, like, heart literally stopped for a bit.
I don't know if that's an injury, per se. It's
I was
just
going to say...
My body's even more suicidal than I am. But
have you guys ever, like, broken a bone while, like, shredding hardcore or anything like that?
I haven't had any broken bones, but I recall 3 instances where the injury was pretty not fun.
What happened?
Okay, so the earliest I remember was back in the Violet Violence days.
Indeed.
Yes.
As one would expect. Yeah.
Yeah, we were like in a place where we weren't supposed to be, and there was a lot of lumber, and the lumber had a lot of nails.
Rival gang territory.
No, it was in our territory, and there were like a lot of lumber, a lot of nails, and I stepped on one, and it went straight through my foot.
Oh, it went through your foot. Ah!
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
I didn't even realize what was happening until I couldn't lift my foot up.
Damn.
Oh.
Okay.
Fuck.
That's pretty serious.
Right.
Yeah. And another one was there was recently they cut down a giant tree, and I was like scaling up the logs because of course I would. And I slipped, I tripped, and what happened, somehow a piece of what's the outer layer of the bark? The bark. A piece of bark got under my toenail.
Oh, fuck.
Fucking
anything involving toenails just like freaks me out.
Yeah, it was.
Agree.
It was terrible. I'm surprised it didn't fall off. At least I don't remember it doing so. But yeah,
Were you wearing shoes? Like, did it cut through your shoe or something?
I was wearing I think it's called sandals.
Yeah.
You were wearing, goddamn woman, what are you doing climbing trees wearing flip-flops or some shit?
It was summer. And the last one was quite recent. I think it was last year, I think. I was back in Lithuania, and my mother put a new carpet in the room I was staying, and like the carpet was very slippery, and a few times I sort of slipped, but I regained my balance, and my mom was like, "Oh, we should nail it down or something like that, because I feel like one of us is gonna trip." And I was like, "Yeah, we should totally do that." But same day, a bit later, we haven't done that, and I was going into my room. And I slipped really, really bad. I couldn't get my balance up, and I fell, and I hit my right side, the rib cage onto a table, and and not only that, I skidded a bit, and some of my skin went off of my foot, and I think I still have a scar. Hold on, let me check.
This carpet is evil.
So was that just the fact that the carpet was so loose, it just moved on the floor, and it just like, okay.
I'm pretty sure don't have the scar anymore. Hold on.
Well, that's good.
No, wait. There's still a little bit of it. There's still a hint of it, but it's fading away. So
Jesus.
I'm definitely gonna have scars from these fucking skateboarding wounds. But you know what? I was gonna say about this. I kind of feel like a badass, so I'm kind of just happy that it happened. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that bad. Everyone needs a little bit of wear and tear to be a cool guy. So, maybe I've been a little too pampered. I feel cool. I'm happy that I do it.
Speaking of scars, a weird scar I have that still hasn't healed, and it baffles me to this day. I was playing with my cat, and this is totally earned. He bit me, and he doesn't bite me hard, but sometimes just enough to break the skin. And it still hasn't healed, and I swear it's been, like, just as long as, like, even longer than a year now. And, like,
I guess
the skin on my foot that had completely come off, it's almost completely gone. There's barely anything there. But these two scars are just still there on my person.
Are they vampire marks on your neck? Is it a vampire?
No, it's on my arm.
On your arm.
Yeah, like two little streaks on my arm. I have no idea why they're still there.
Those platelets need to get to work.
Yeah.
Healing that shit.
Shit, dude.
Well, how about you, Tom? Anything like this?
Well, I did break my leg in elementary school.
How'd that happen?
I constantly had this bad habit, and I still do it to this day, of like fucking running up and down stairs with reckless abandon, because I just I got places to be. I don't have time to casually go down the stairs. Fuck that shit. And so my mom was always like, you keep doing that, you're gonna fall down the stairs. I'm like, dumb bitch, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. One time in 6th grade, it did happen. I did fall down the stairs. I did break my leg, and it did suck balls.
So were you heading up the stairs and then just like?
Oh no, I was going down. Gravity was totally out to get me that day, and
so you
succeeded.
Like tumbled forward? Or something?
Yeah, I slipped, and it hurt. It was bad. And then I had to have a cast for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I remember distinctly about this, I had crutches, all that fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Is that with the school I was at, the last period of the day, some days of the week would be chorus. And I'd have to walk from we'd have to go walk from one side of the building to the other to get to the chorus class. And now I had to hobble on crutches, and it was very slow. And most of the time, it would take the entire period for me to crutch walk. Nobody helped. Nobody waited. Helped. I would just show up at chorus, and then it would be over, and then have to go all the way back to the other side to get my backpack.
Are you kidding me?
No. This happened multiple times. I just missed chorus because I just was hobbling my way from one side of the building to the other, trying to get there.
Lol. Fucking gimped-ass Tom hobbling his way across.
Yeah, but
nobody helping him.
Chorus sucked though, so I was totally okay with it and never spoke up about it because I'm like, yeah, if anyone ever gives me shit, I'd be like, I'm crippled. Fuck you.
Damn.
So that was breaking my bone. What else happened? Shit. When I was a little kid, I got attacked by my cat because I was a retard.
Okay.
So I loved my first cat was cool. He was a cool guy. He was this big fucking massive death cat, and I was a little wee lad of 8 years old, and I loved this cat. And he was a cool cat. But one time we were out just hanging out with the neighbors. And then their dog tried to kill our cat.
Oh, shit, okay.
And I had the dumb idea of running over to save him. Because I was like, fuck you, dog. Don't hurt my cat. He's the best. Sure. And my cat was freaked out. So when I touched it, it attacked me because it thought it was being attacked by another animal or something.
Right.
And it ripped my face open and shit.
Fuck.
I had to get stitches on my eyebrow. And let me tell you, that hurts like a bitch.
I did once get an eyebrow piercing, so I can kind of relate.
This is like getting your eyebrow pierced 16 times in a row.
Yeah, that's way worse.
It's not fun. I still have a little scar there. Every time I squint, there's a little fold there that shouldn't be there from a scar. It's very weird. Yeah. But
I described getting my eyebrow pierced as the worst pain I've ever felt, and feeling like a lightning bolt going through my face.
Yeah.
This is what it felt like.
Speaking about broken bones, this didn't happen to me, but I feel like I can share the story.
Sure.
I was one time in camp, and they had these
concentration camp.
No, it was regular camp. Just the buildings were concrete or brick laid, two-story buildings with, and what happened was some boys decided to climb from the second floor window to the second floor.
What is with Eastern European people and climbing shit what they shouldn't be doing and risking their lives? But okay, all right.
From the window to the balcony, and we were the girls were on the balcony. We're ready to sort of help them over, and I was one of them. And it's so stupid. We should have told them no, but I don't think they would have listened. Anywho, so they're doing that, and one boy sort of reached out, and we tried to grab his hand, but we didn't manage to grab his hand, and he slipped and he fell. And,
God! From a second story.
Yeah, and he broke both of
Christ,
his arms.
What happened?
He broke both his arms.
Holy shit!
He broke both his arms. Oh my God! And so you're there reaching out your hand, and he missed your hand.
All right,
Basically.
Mage. Be honest, Mage. You did this on purpose, didn't you? You wanted him to suffer. The violence.
No. I had a crush on this boy.
And you crushed him
on this boy, so you had to see him crush below you. I get it.
Oh God.
No, it was
Lithuania
traumatic.
has some weird affection things. That's the custom I just don't understand.
That is seriously though. You see those videos of Russian boys climbing on these weird freakishly tall oil rigs and shit, and hanging off with one arm, dangling over nothing, and giving a thumbs up with the other hand. You see that shit? I mean, that's what it reminds me of. But Jesus Christ.
God,
yeah,
there's just a yearning for death
traumatic.
in the Eastern European population, I think. I can relate since I'm half Polish. I get it. Fascinating.
But yeah, they called the ambulance, and he, wasn't in camp for the rest of the time.
I would hope.
Did his arms heal okay? I mean, did he?
I think so. By the time I got out and went to actually visit him, because I lived near the hospital. Well, not near the hospital, but it was a walk away. Anywho, I went to visit him, and he was already out. So.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, still, God damn. That's pretty fucking funny.
It's not. It wasn't.
I'm laughing.
Here's the important question, though, Mage. You guys ever hook up after that? You ever go anywhere with that crush? Mm-hmm.
The thing is that we might have, maybe, but his mother was a psycho, so...
Oh, cock-blocked by mom. The worst fate.
I was going to say, having both arms paralyzed can put a man in a compromising position at formative young years and will need assistance with various activities. Well, I mean, okay. I guess that's pretty much it. Any other traumatic stories? I mean, there was the time that I just kicked Ben for no reason. That was pretty funny, but it wasn't really a serious injury or anything. Was there anything else? I mean, I had crazy fevers when I was young, but that's not the same kind of traumatic.
Yeah,
An axe fell on me and almost cut my head off, but only did cut my finger instead.
Shit. I mean, how bad did it hurt the finger?
Not bad at all. Like I still have like a scar on my finger from where it like sliced a bit of flesh open and I had to get stitches and everything.
Damn.
But like if I had not moved when I did, it would have like hit the back of my neck and probably killed me.
Damn.
So that was cool. God was just like, no, you still got another couple decades of suffering, boy. And I was like,
glad you're still with us, Tom.
Yeah.
I mean, there was that one time, I know I've told this before, where I was on a bunk bed. I like flipped up. I was like on the bottom bunk, but there were bars above. I grabbed those bars. I flipped upside down, as I like to do on those, to like do flips. And one time I was just hanging upside down, head down. And I was like, this will be fun. And I just let go and dropped onto my head and nearly snapped my fucking neck, like for fun.
God.
I don't know what I was thinking, but it seemed fun at the time.
Oh, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really all there is to it.
Really
that's the
stupid,
Polish in me.
retarded ideas, I suppose.
Yeah,
God.
well, I guess that's it.
Yeah. Don't die, kids.
Yeah, try not to do this.
Don't do dangerous things.
If you're gonna do dangerous things, prepare your will ahead of time, and I don't know, make sure it's worth it. Like, I've done skydiving and could have died, but it's actually pretty safe.
Safety
overall.
Precautions.
Yeah, and I did it in tandem, I wasn't that worried.
One thing I remembered, it wasn't an injury or anything, but it was very scary. So you know, like those thermometers that have like what's it called? Mercury in them, I think. Right?
Yeah.
And mercury is poisonous when it's like gas, right?
Yep, sure is.
Yeah, so
when it's liquid too, but yeah.
Yeah, so I broke a thermometer and I was really scared of telling my parents, so I hid it. But then thankfully I came clean because where I hid it was the bedroom, and if I hadn't told them, I dread to think what would have happened.
You know, on that specific thing, my mom told me. You know, my mom like grew up in like the 50s and 60s and stuff. Well, most of the 60s, but whatever. Point is, like, when she was a kid, she told me the other day, or this was years ago, she's like, yeah, well, like, when we were kids, we used to intentionally crack open, like, mercury thermometers and just, like, fuck around with the mercury and just, like, you know, play with it and, like, roll it around. And she's like, this may have been a bad idea, looking back
fucking terrible idea.
I mean, yeah, but how the fuck, this was, like, before they knew, I guess.
Yeah. It's just like, because, like, mercury's kind of cool.
It's really cool. Liquid metal. It's dope.
It's pretty sick. Too bad everything that's cool is also bad for you.
Unfortunately. Yeah, like dropping onto your neck from a bunk bed. Yeah. It's cool as hell, but damn it. It's a forbidden snack. The worst thing. It's a forbidden fun. Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah.
We should title this segment Forbidden Fun, aka traumatic injury.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, those girls who cut themselves because they're emo seem like they're having a good time.
Yeah,
so.
Well, if it's good enough for emo girls, it's good enough for me, you know? That's my bar. Shit. So
anyone... All right, what else we got on the table? I got another thing to talk about, but you guys got anything
I'm done with injuries, so if you want to move on to something else, please save me from my floundering.
I did have a funny thing happen to me right before this episode began, and this is, I got to start today's episode of the PGP, the Pokemon Go podcast, which is just to say that my mom calls me. So my mom visited me in Cincinnati recently.
Yeah, the legendary encounter.
Legendary encounter, being on the Shekels for Heckles episode and whatnot. And while she was here, I got her introduced to Pokemon Go and got her playing a little bit, and she seems pretty into it. And the way I can definitely tell is that she just called me asking for like help. and she was walking the dog, Beanie, and she was just like, Nate, how do I? Or I just got a thing. I'm going to Pokestops to get Pokeballs, but it's telling me I'm at max capacity for items. What do I do?
The worst.
And so I explained to her, you got to throw away items you don't need. You can upgrade if you pay money or you do gym battles, which I'm sure she has not done yet. But mostly you just throw away items to get more Pokeballs and stuff. So, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that was funny, and parents will never get it.
It's interesting, like, because like Pokemon Go is one of those games that's definitely like got like normie potential. Yeah. And, like Pokemon, like the Pokemon spin-off games seem to be good with that. Like my parents hate video games, think they're gay, think I've wasted my entire life, and they're not wrong, but they are both huge fans of Pokemon Snap, and we would play that together all the time. And my mom like beat that game and played it multiple times.
Wow.
And
that's
like
interesting.
Doesn't play video games, hates them a lot. But Pokemon Snap for the N64 was her jam, and she was obsessed with it. Just as much as we were back in the day.
Wow.
And
my dad was a little bit like that with racing games. He never really played much, but he always like showed an interest whenever it came up, which was interesting.
My dad is like into video games, but doesn't play them and is in denial about it. Like my dad is just like a nerd in denial. Like at some point he got like bullied in school, so became jacked and like learned how to fight and like became one of those guys. But he was, before that he was a nerd, and he's left that identity behind. But it's still there. He just ignores it to the best of his abilities.
I think my dad generally likes video games, but he doesn't play them at the moment. I remember in my childhood he would play. I don't remember the name of the game, but I think it was on a Nintendo console, because I remember we also had like the original Marios that my sister and me played, and he played like this other one where you had to build like a maze sort of for tanks to battle, like and then like you built the battlefield basically, and then you maneuvered around it with one little tank while 5 other tanks went after you. So you had to it was quite fun. And the other 2 games I remember him playing would be like Doom and Doom 2. So
yeah,
that's some good shit.
I guess on Doom 3, so the Doom series. Sadly, his computer is not strong enough to handle the newest Doom, so we cannot.
You could probably play that on your fucking phone these days or something.
No, I tried. It didn't run.
Oh yeah,
get a new graphics card. Just go out, buy a GTX 1060, slap it in your NES machine, and
yes.
My dad played Might and Magic for the PC. Him and my uncle would hang out together and play Might and Magic for the PC back in the day. Yeah. And that was a cool game. I played that a little bit later in life because I was a little child. I ruined one of their Might and Magic games when I was like a very young kid, like younger than 5, because I've come a long way with computers in my life. Now I can like build computers, I can put them together, I can do all this cool shit with them. I'm basically that IT guy right now for IM Games. It's like my job. But back in the day, they were playing Might and Magic like 3, I think, for like DOS. And I came downstairs, and I thought the computer was hungry, so I shoved a cookie into the floppy drive and crashed the whole thing.
Are you kidding me?
Are
you fucking serious?
No.
Okay, why did you think it was hungry? What a fascinating conclusion
I can
to come
relate,
to.
though. I had the same experience.
What? Are you kidding me?
Like, I think it was like a, what's it called? VCR? The thing you...
The VCR?
Those, the tapes, those big tapes, big bulky tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was hungry, but because it,
what the fuck?
But I put like metal bits inside of it instead of like a cookie because it's a metally thing. It eats metal things.
Mage went to the next level. Holy shit!
And what about like a TV being thirsty?
Oh no! You didn't pour shit on a TV, did you?
I pour liquid into the TV.
You gotta water the TV.
Why?
It was thirsty, Nick.
How? Okay, wait, stop. What made you think specifically that they were hungry and or thirsty? Like, what was it?
This was like 25 years ago, Nate. I'm not going to recall my thought process.
So you were like a literal baby.
Yeah, I was 5 or less years old. I can tell you that much. 5 or less.
Because like, I could you see like a floppy disk drive, and it kind of looks like an open mouth, right? I sort of get the connection there. But Like, was there something on the screen that said, like, feed me?
No.
I mean, I don't know.
I think me and Mage both just have, like, had stupid amounts of empathy as children or something.
Yeah, I still have stupid amounts of empathy.
Yeah. I try and crush that feeling every day.
Well, for the... Yeah, that's good. But for the TV being thirsty, like, where did you pour the liquid into?
Remember back when TVs used to be like super bulky and not like flat screens? So on the back there would be like slits to get like the hot air out. So in that,
God,
surprisingly,
you poured it right onto the CRT like thing.
Surprisingly,
dear God,
it did not ruin the TV because I turned it off right afterward, and I think it had time to dry.
Oh no! And did anybody know? Did you ever confess your crime?
No one knows.
No one knew.
Oh man, the perfect crime. Watering the TV.
So did your shoving food or metal bits into the VCR destroy
that fucked it up beyond repair.
Oh no. What metal bits did you shove in there? Like where did
actually this is funny.
You just had metal shavings hanging around?
It was from
I guess when you live in the desolate wasteland of the violent violence, there's metal bits all over the place.
Not a comb, a brush, a hairbrush. There we go, a hairbrush.
A metal hairbrush?
Yeah, the metally spiky bits.
Oh, yeah, so you pulled off the bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but this is funny because this is kind of the origin story of how I learned English, because once the VCR was fucked up, my parents got me cable, which had Cartoon Network in it, and me being 4 to 5 years old, I didn't care what language they spoke, so it's just pretty cartoons, so I watched TV a lot, and that's how I learned English.
So this was like a formative moment of your life. If you hadn't fed the VCR, you might not even be able to talk to us at this point. We might have never.
Or at least with very broken English.
My God, who would have known that at this point reality's forked, and there's another fork of reality where Mage decided, you know what? I guess the VCR's not hungry, and then none of her life is the way it is now.
Yep.
What a fascinating situation.
The butterfly effect. For sure. Holy shit.
What about you, Tom? So shoving the cookie into the floppy disk drive, how much did that fuck it up?
I guess that fucked up their game and they couldn't finish. So
like, was the disc in there currently or something? And then
it must have been. It must have been because there's no way. Because like even like I think about it now, there's no way that like shoving something into a floppy drive would kill the entire computer because like all like the actual components are way far away. But they must have been running off a floppy disk and like that just broke the game.
Broke it or something,
the computer itself probably still worked.
Probably. Man.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. Definitely, I've come a long way.
That's fucking dope.
Guys, remember floppy disks?
I do. I used floppy disks back in the day. I
used to use floppy disks. It's just so amazing now, like how much stuff we can cram onto like disks and stuff.
I think a floppy disk, if I remember correctly, I think they had a limit of like about 2 megabytes. It was, if I remember correctly,
1.44 megabytes.
Yeah, there you go.
I have no idea why it was that number, but that's what it was. Do you guys remember before those floppy disks, like the bigger floppy disks, like the floppy disks that were actually floppy and they held even less data?
I remember those, but I never used them.
I've never used them, but I know they're real. I know they're a thing that existed.
It was ironic that floppy disks were actually pretty solid. I mean, they were made of plastic. You could bend them a little bit, but
yeah, I don't know.
I wonder why they were called floppy disks.
Well, because like Tom was saying, I think the original versions were quite large and were literally floppy. They were like bendy plastic.
That's funny.
Does anybody remember the classic PSA video about piracy back in the day in the 90s called "Don't Copy That Floppy"?
I remember the phrase, but I don't think I've seen it.
It's a cheesy 90s rap video about some guy telling kids, "Don't copy that floppy." It's hilarious.
Damn, that's
the 90s were a different time. It was amazing.
That's hilarious because a lot of the games that I owned or got to play back in those days were bootlegs or pirated versions of games.
Exactly. There was no copy protection back in the day. So their copy protection was please don't do that.
The times sure have changed. We used to use rap to get kids to stop copying that floppy. Now we use rap to get kids to smoke crack.
Yeah. Well,
that's
the world's always changing.
And sip that lean. Well, shit. What a fascinating story. That was a great diversion or a great tangent. That was absolutely delicious, delectable. I've got one other thing I want to bring up, which is just what we were talking about right before this episode, which was about addictions, specifically sugar.
Oh God, yeah. Let's talk about the worst part of the human condition. It's addiction to sugar.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue that that's part of a larger issue. I mean, it's definitely there, but it's like we're just slaves to our biology to such a massive degree.
We
like
don't
our bodies
actually
just
need
crave sugar. So.
Yeah, we don't actually need it though. I don't think.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a bodybuilder or like traveling on stuff, like you actually need a lot of energy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But no, here we are. Like all of us, I think, kind of struggle to varying degrees with resisting the temptation to eat just like junk food and shit. It's tough. It's real fucking hard.
I can give up almost like anything except for sugary stuff.
Dude, it's tough. Like, again, because I've been doing keto like Ben for the last like 3 weeks. I've had no sugar. I've become addicted to diet soda because it's the only sweet thing I can have.
I've been slowly easing into keto because like I still had a lot of leftover food that need to be eaten. And like I said, I ordered the candy corn before I decided to go keto. So there's, I mean, that's been lasting me several days. So a few pieces a day, you know, so it's not going to be too much. But yeah.
Man, I just, there was a time in my life, and I want to get back to it. I'm working to get there. And Huel and all this stuff is helping me. Where I had mastered this. I had conquered it. I went a year without fast food. I think I might have eaten it one time. And a year without soda. And I still don't drink soda like ever. And actually, this time is what broke me on soda. I just don't care anymore. But I definitely eat more junk food than that now. And I want to get back.
This is an interesting thing about diet. It's like, this is almost a problem with the internet now, is that there's just so much information. I have no idea what's true anymore. I can't.
That's true.
Because I've done research on diet and I've tried to like look up things like casually, just like, all right, what's the best thing to eat? Yeah. And there's no consensus. You know, I was on Twitter and this is just the most recent example of me thinking of this, is I was on Twitter and one of the people I follow on Twitter is like a religious vegan, like insanely vegan. Like all they do is just make art and products about how good it is to be vegan and fuck you if you're not vegan. Their art's great, so I follow them anyway. And I knew them from like back in the pony days and stuff, but they've transitioned from pony to vegan. And
between two religions.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, Church of Twilight to the Church of Chicken. I don't know. A shout out to them. They're great. But vegan.
I think all the characters, if I think about it, are probably vegan in My Little Pony.
I suppose.
No, they eat milk products and pony shit.
That's true. They're vegetarian though. They're close.
They're vegetarian. Yeah. They're close.
So there was just this thread that they had retweeted, and I just kind of looked through it because I'm always interested. I'm interested in the zealot mindset because I want to instill it in my audience so they'll never abandon me. So I'm always taking peeks, trying to peel back the layers and figure out how to do it. And this thread was just like people going back and forth fighting about diet and veganism. And people are like, no, you don't understand. Like the best, like if you like look in like, you know, like ancient like Asian cultures and stuff, all they would do is eat like nothing but carbohydrates and sugars, and they'd live to be like 107. That's how people do now. Like that's the most healthy thing to do. And people are like, no, we couldn't evolve without eating meat, and like meat's the most important thing. You can't have carbohydrates. We're poisoning ourselves with carbs. You got to go fats and proteins. And it's like, I don't know which one's right. There's evidence on both sides. What are we supposed to do?
The science is not settled. It's really not.
So because I'm doing keto and I'm like, am I being healthy? Because like there's like a huge subset of people who'd be like, you're eating the worst shit possible for you and you're going to die early of like coronary heart disease. Yeah. And like maybe that's true.
See, I think people when they say like, oh, you know, your arteries are gonna get clogged up with fat and stuff like that, like because they've always considered like, hold on, let me words. So when you're consuming both carbohydrates and fat in large quantities, like the fat is gonna get unhealthy for you. But if you just focus on just fat and not carbohydrates, I think that sort of balances out. I don't know. It's just someone who read stuff. So you know, I'm no professional.
I think that's the general like thrust behind keto is that like you're burning fat for energy now, so it's not getting caught in your body. Because if you're eating a ton of fat but you're burning the carbohydrates, your body's not doing anything with the fat and it just kind of like sticks to you. Like,
because the body prioritizes carbohydrates. And the fat just sets into your body. Because it's basically
just sugars. Like, carbs just break down immediately into sugars, and it's the easiest to process. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a smart person. So it's just like, I'm just a normal human being that is terrified of death and wants to live long enough to make it to the technological singularity. But during that time, I want to look swole and good and get some puss. So I'm just in this middle ground of like, what do? How do I maximize? How do I biohack properly? That's what I wanted. Yes. Until I can just get real technical, like machine hacking with my robot limbs. I got to biohack, and we don't understand the language yet, so it's very fucking confusing because I don't know what the fuck to do.
Though, right, Tom?
I've been going to the gym 3 times a week for the last like 3.5, 4 months.
That's great. So that's tremendous.
I'm trying to step it up to 5 times a week at some point. I'm just lazy.
Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be... it's not necessarily better to work out more times. I mean, there's different plans. So if it's like easier... Like with me, it's easier to work out 3 times a week. So I found a plan that's like optimized for that, and you just do the workout that's assigned. So I'm just saying, like, one can... The question is not settled as to like, 5 workouts are definitely better than 3 works out. A lot of it depends on what you're trying to do.
That's my point again, you know? It's like the same... It's like, what the fuck? Like, how did... You would think after a couple thousand years, we'd figure out the baselines of like how this like system works, and we're not even fucking close.
Well, you know...
In terms of dieting, I think during like the World Wars, they kind of falsified information to fatten people up or something like that. So and a lot of people who are older dietitians, they still sort of base it on their old knowledge, but because they're the experienced people, all the newer people base it off of their knowledge, and it just kind of get passed on, whereas some newer people, the upstarts, have some new data, and that's hard to believe.
Here's an interesting fact that is, it's not totally settled or anything, but like, so like if you're trying to gain muscle, right, we all know that protein is important for that. Okay, how much protein should one eat? Until very recently, there really was not an agreed upon answer to that. The general agreement was a lot. And the amount that had been thrown out was like 1 gram of protein every day per pound of body mass you have. I think it was pound of lean body mass. If you're really fat, you're not going to get, if you eat 400 grams of protein, that's not actually beneficial because you got so much excess fat there. But like just recently, my boy Scooby 1961, who it's a good time to bring him in because he's the guy who I've learned the most from over the years. Everyone should listen to him if you have interest in health and fitness at all. He reported in a video that there was a large, I forget what it's called, but like a multi-stage, comprehensive analysis that had been done of many independent like protein analysis like studies that were tracking like specifically muscle gain based on protein consumption. And see, this is not totally settled, but the information that was assembled indicates that the ideal amount is actually 0.7 not 1 gram of protein per pound of body mass, but 0.7 grams, as in if you weigh 100 pounds and you're lean, muscly guy, then you would want to eat 70 grams of protein per day to gain muscle. And if you can eat more, but you won't get any benefit. That is like basically the optimal amount. And the other important information that was found was that, because people had speculated for a long time, like whey is basically milk protein. It comes from milk. You could eat like chicken to get straight up like muscle, animal protein, or you could get like lima beans of protein. You could get like people have lima bean protein you can just take. And the analysis concluded it didn't matter what kind of protein they ate, as long as you just get that 0.7, grams of protein per pound of lean body mass, then you will gain at optimal speeds of muscle, and it doesn't matter what kind of protein you eat. That was like the big conclusion. And you'd think that we would have figured that shit out way long ago, but only now are people starting to understand any of this shit. And there's so much more to know that we don't know. And when you bring in the question of health specifically, health is such a complex thing. And there's so many systems that are involved. Insane. Like, there is going to be one answer, like, this is the healthiest way to live.
Because it's the problem becomes is that, like, health, like, because, like, no, it's not like all human bodies work exactly the same way. Based on the region you're from, like your genetics kind of like have tweaked a little bit to like better suit that environment. And then like within that, individuals are different as well. So like we gotta like have some fucking futuristic tech where it just scans your body and be like, all right, based on your genetic makeup and shit, this is your ideal diet to keep you at peak condition.
Hey guys, here's a conspiracy theory for you, since we talked about it earlier. So the dietitian sort of people in America, it's quite a huge business, isn't it?
Oh, it's Titanic.
And if everyone suddenly got thin, they'd be out of business now, wouldn't they?
They would.
That's certainly true.
So they are making people not get thinner because they wouldn't.
Right. No, this isn't even a joke. Like I was actually going to bring this up next. Is that like I think a reason a lot of this alternate diet stuff is even coming up now is because with the internet you can like there's financial incentive at this point to like delve deeper into this shit, because if you can figure out the next like diet craze, you can make a fuck ton of money off of it.
Yeah, which people do. Six-pack shortcuts and whatnot.
Exactly. So like there's all this conflicting research and stuff now because everyone's like cherry picking so their program can work. And it's just like, again, the internet has this huge influx of information.
Yeah.
And even before with like the traditional food pyramid was definitely because like there was like excess grains in like American like industry, so they put grains as like the most important part so they could sell more of that shit. It's all
I think that's definitely good, and out of this swirling chaos of information things will emerge. I would argue though that I think frankly we really know the most important things. The problem is they require large amounts of effort over a long period of time, because we know right now if people, and this is available to like basically almost every American, if you exercise probably every day, cardio and weightlifting, or maybe just both are good. If you exercise a lot and you like eat lots of vegetables, like that really is the key. Just eat lots of vegetables and like beans and stuff, and do not eat junk food. Like just skip it all. Skip cake, skip cupcakes, skip all that stuff, skip candy, and you just eat. I know. I'm just saying. See, that's the thing. Nobody wants to do it. Well, I mean, the really disciplined like weightlifter, bodybuilder guys, like they do it because like it's kind of important. Like for whatever reason, they've decided it's worth doing, worth sacrificing that stuff to get these. But like to your average American who's just living their life and is like, wait, why are you asking me to like stop eating sugar just so that I'll get healthy? But like that doesn't sound fun, and I have to do it forever.
What's the point of being healthy if you're miserable?
Yeah, I mean, that's so okay. See, that
we need
that
to
right
break
there
we need to break the conditioning. You need to break the link between.
No. I get you.
Sugar
I'm all for health. It is, and it's definitely a struggle. But I would like to find a balance between not being miserable.
I ask that question myself all the time. Like when me and Michelle go out, Michelle eats like a bunny and she'll just get a salad. And I'll be like, but I want a burger. Why can't I just have a cheeseburger with bacon? Why are you bullying me to get a salad, you fucking asshole? Why do you hate me so much?
And
I just think like, I don't want to live in a world where I can't eat a cheeseburger right now. So fuck it.
Just get it in a lettuce wrap. It's basically a salad at that point.
I wish they offered that in the UK. I swear, like
I gotta do that.
I don't think they do. I don't think they offered it
in
the UK.
I've literally been living off of bacon burgers and lettuce wraps.
I kind of live in the ghetto, so I'm not sure they would have lettuce wraps if I try. But I do need to try at least at some point.
Five Guys and Wendy's will do it. I went to Burger King and they looked at me like I had three heads when I asked for a lettuce wrap. So I just walked out and I was like, no, never mind.
There's Five Guys and Wendy's not too far. I should make a trip and report back in this whole
Five Guys is definitely better and it's worth it.
There's a Five Guys not too far from me. I never been
Mage,
there.
we should both try in the coming week to get there and try this lettuce wrap business and see
it's
how it
good.
But I'm socially anxious. I'll have to actually ask something off of the menu.
No.
Yeah,
it's on the menu. It's something you can get there. It's not like a weird substitute. They offer lettuce wraps.
Okay. I'll look at the menu. I look at the menu, and if they don't have it, I'm not gonna ask about it.
I mean, every time I've asked for a lettuce wrap, they've just hit a button and it's come up on the screen and it's on the receipt as
okay. That's a pretty good sign.
Okay, yeah, but you're in America. Maybe they don't do that in UK.
Okay, hang on. New subject, real quick. Social anxiety. Why in God's name would it be a problem to go to a place, ask for a thing, and then to face the sheer terror in realizing they do not have it on the menu. Just imagine the horror as that confused look crosses their face.
I don't like interacting
my point is, who
with
cares?
people.
I've slowly been trying to conquer this because like I just like what I try and do in these situations is if the roles were reversed, I wouldn't give a fuck. So they don't give a fuck because I don't give a fuck about anybody around me 99% of the time, and neither do they.
Yeah. I tried that,
like the guiding principle.
I tried that too. I keep telling myself, and that sort of helps me just move in a public space. But
I feel ya. I think, okay, don't give me a moment here. I think what would help, Mage, is if someone had a gun to your head.
No, what helps me usually is to have someone near me, like next to me, like a friend or something like that.
Like a friend, yeah.
That's usually helpful. But it doesn't work miracles, though. I still wouldn't be able to ask about the rap.
I literally, I used to have some, I don't know, and I still, every once in a while I do. Like, sometimes I'll just avoid going to the coffee machine, like, at work. Just like, oh, there's someone there, I'll go later. Which is a pussy move, and I shouldn't do, but I still do it sometimes.
I think I told you guys about the time where I didn't go into a store to buy myself Pokemon plushies.
Yeah, even though you wanted it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is so sad. Well, we all need to overcome this, We all need to... How can we let anxiety about what people are saying get in our way?
I've been getting better. I mean, like, I think I
that's good. I'm not talking about you specifically or anything. Just saying.
It's always going to be a struggle, but like every time you push back, I find it gets a little bit easier the next time.
It's a muscle, I think. And like, if you don't exercise it, like I've noticed this, because like, I don't know, like I have a real job, I have to interact with people, so I'm kind of forced to exercise some of this stuff a lot. But like if I worked at home and like, for example, was a YouTuber, I would like never have to go out. I would probably continue to be an awkward weirdo and, would not develop these skills and stuff. So it's kind of good. This is why I say the gun to your head is like I try to think when I'm in these situations sometimes, less so now, but especially in the past, I think like, what if I had to do this or I die? Could I do it? And then I think, yeah, absolutely. I absolutely could. And then that I find that helpful, at least to a degree.
Just puts it in perspective. It feels like the end of the world until you're like, actually, it's really not.
And I think a lot about Welcome to the NHK when I'm in situations like that. Because it's basically Social Anxiety, the show. And, I like, because there's a character in it, of course, famously, who like just cannot do anything. His social anxiety is so bad that he just doesn't leave his room ever. But then one time, like his sister leaves and isn't coming to give him food. So if he stays there, he will just die. So basically he has no choice but to leave his room and go get a job. And he does so, and he lived. And actually he's way happier afterward. So basically what I'm saying is get Biter to threaten your life and say he's going to kill you if you don't do XYZ. And then
if you don't get a lettuce wrap, he will shoot you.
Yeah, if you don't get a lettuce wrap. He'll put two in your skull.
When there's no guns in the UK. At least we don't own any.
I forgot. Okay,
That's
well,
right.
What is it, like nail clippers are like the
crimes.
guns of the UK now, basically, I think?
Yeah.
Potato peelers.
Potato peelers, that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh my god, you're right. That was a thing. Hilarious.
God damn.
Sad as well.
It's pretty sad, pretty strange. Well,
shit. Do you want to pivot into something that me and Digi were talking about, and I want to bring it up.
Absolutely.
I was talking to Mage a little bit about it before we started. So I guess Digi and May have been watching Pokemon analysis videos constantly because we have a computer now in the kitchen. So while they're cooking, they'll just
old anime or like the new one,
like the games and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I've been watching like just videos on like, because I guess like there's a huge contingent of like the Pokemon fandoms that's just dedicated to like breaking the old games and finding weird shit out about them.
We saw some of that in the Pokemon race here on the Pro Crastinators.
But there's a fuck ton of that going on apparently.
Sure.
So they've been watching videos like that. But then I just happened to come down when they were watching this video about a ROM hack of Pokemon Crystal called Pokemon Crystal Clear.
I've heard of that.
And it was the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
What's so cool about it? I haven't heard any of the details.
So what Pokemon Crystal Clear is, it's a ROM hack of Crystal where you know how Pokemon Crystal usually plays. You start in Johto, you go to Kanto, you get like 16 badges, you go fight the Elite Four, then you go to Mount Silver and fight Red. Like that's the progress of the game. Pokemon Crystal Clear changes it so that you can start in Johto or Kanto, either in New Bark or Pallet Town. You can customize your character. You can choose from 25 different starters that all have different difficulty levels. And then they've removed all the HM blocks in the entire map and edited it so you can go anywhere you want in any order. So the game is completely open. It's like an open world, essentially.
Are there like levels? Like if you go to one area, will there just be like level 50 Pokemon? So like, well, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go.
I think some of them have like that, like the levels like scale and stuff. But I know the gym leaders can be done in any order, and they scale as you get more badges.
Okay.
So you can go fight like Falconer as the last guy and have like a level 60 something Zapdos. But if you fight him first, he'll have his like level 9 Pidgey. So like it all scales like that, and you can re-challenge the gyms at any time at any skill level.
Now that's what I like. That's what I like to hear. Yeah.
So like if you fight, like say you fight Falconer first like you normally would, and you have 5 badges, you can go back to the gym and fight him at a level 5 gym level, so he has stronger guys.
Fabulous. Fantastic.
So it's fucking sick. And so it's just like the best. I can't even imagine even wanting to play Vanilla Crystal anymore because it sounds 10 times better. And then you run by default instead of walking, so the movement speed is like triple.
Oh, that's good.
And there's tons of little like quality of life things. They enhance the sprites, so the colors are more accurate. And
is the Pokemon Crystal the one where you had to go to the mines and mine things?
That's Diamond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Crystal was like the remake, the addition to like Gold and Silver, like the second gen games. So this is like a Game Boy Color ROM hack. And like they just added a bunch of other little things like that. So it's fucking amazing. And between that and SPV3, or just like it was just the Halo mod we played on IM Games a couple weeks back, where they just took Halo 1 for PC, reskinned it, added all the guns and enemies from Halo 2 and 3 into it, and like rebalanced the whole campaign around it and like added to the levels.
Nice.
Mods are just better than games. Like
the dedication of these people is amazing.
Because like
true.
Pokemon Crystal Clear is a better idea than any Pokemon game that's come after it. Like that's
I know
just
I've said it before,
fucking
but
sick.
I think based on Pokemon's track record, we cannot count on the Pokemon Company or Nintendo to give us the Pokemon game that like we veterans would want. The ROM hacks are the answer. That's the answer.
But like the weird thing is like, and then like SPV3 is a better Halo game than Halo 4 or 5 by a significant degree. Yeah. So it's just like, why are we playing games? We should just play mods. Like, how is like one person making these better? Like, they're just better. Like, mods are just better.
I would say, I think there's something to be said that, and this is not a criticism of like the mods but like the modders do have the benefit of kind of hindsight, or like they're able to take a game that was made, 99% by someone else. They do the additional 1% of tweaks that like everyone has agreed like this would make the game so much better, and like they get to do that. Maybe in like modern terms, like I think in Hollow Knight, for example, like people thought that like the way that you get the final ultimate super duper extra like final DLC completion stuff was too hard. So I think they did nerf some of the bosses. That's a tool that like is available to devs now that I kind of hate, but they can make some of those tweaks that might otherwise be like something that a modder would do.
Here's the thing though that I would argue there. I would say that Hollow Knight, this is kind of like, I think Hollow Knight in terms of like an indie game that we're talking about, and like these mods, they have more in common than like a AAA game and Hollow Knight does. Okay. Because like what is Hollow Knight other than like someone having an idea of like making a Metroidvania better, and instead of just modding Symphony of the Night or something, they just made their own game. Like, it's the same kind of idea. Like, we have these small teams and, like, individuals who are able to take these old concepts that, like, modern companies are still iterating on, but do it in a better way. And I think it's just because they're more in touch with the community and understand what people want.
Yeah, that's a big one. And I think there's, like, an old expression people say that it's like with a big company, you have like more manpower, but what you're sacrificing is the unified vision. When you've got like a small team or like literally like one modder, their unified vision like is able to shine. So as long as they're able to like work with like other people's tools, or maybe they make like a really small project, it can really shine. Kind of like Undertale, I guess, which is like almost a one-man project or something.
Yeah, it's just
fucking its core vision completely shines through when you play that game, or Hollow Knight with its like 3-man team that made that or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just that like corporate influence, and this is why I think like Final Fantasy has kind of lost its way. Because, like, what was Final Fantasy? Final Fantasy it had a fairly big team, but, like, they still had, I don't know, kind of like an indie attitude-ish, where, like, they would take some people's, like, weird, kooky ideas, like the Sorceress in Final Fantasy VIII was actually originally an idea they were going to put into Final Fantasy VII, but, like, there was just too much shit already in that game, like, all right, we're going to save this one, and then they made that kind of like the conceit, like, the main story of Final Fantasy VIII, But the point is, it was just like weird shit that like people came up with and then they implemented because like their main thing was, let's make an interesting game with these cool ideas that we like. And it like, I'm not saying that they weren't thinking about like how to make a really successful blockbuster, because that definitely was on their minds. But like they didn't, it wasn't a Final Fantasy 15 that was like as soon as Tabata took over, perhaps not originally with Nomura, but with Tabata, it was like, let's make a game that people like and will want to buy, and that is like the foremost thing. So it's like, community, tell us what game we should make. Like, tell us what you want, because we don't fucking know. We're not auteurs. We're not like creative people who are here to like implement a vision. No. We're here providing a service, and that's all we're here doing. You know, it's the difference between like those two visions, I guess. Something like that.
Yeah. Mods are better. Play mods.
Mods are better, yep.
Yeah,
We've agreed.
Okay, guys. Hey, switching topic, I guess.
Sure.
Have you guys? You probably have talked on a podcast before about Goblin Slayer, right?
Yeah, I think a little bit, not too much. Not too much.
Because I just watched the 4 episodes that are out now.
Okay. What do you think?
I hold on, but first, can you like brief me on the controversy? Like, I know people were saying rape is bad, basically, and
so the controversy is to summarize it, it's this. Basically, so the entire controversy was based only on the first episode, and nobody cares anymore, as far as I can tell. But it was basically this. It was that the depiction of the violence and especially the rape, that was the big issue. That, you know, canonically 100% does happen in episode 1 of Goblin Slayer, was like explicit, did not kind of warn people about the content, because the show was like advertised as kind of like a PG-13. And then it also, though I would say the rape does not actually happen on screen. It does technically happen off screen. And then people felt that it also kind of sexualized and almost glorified the rape and sexual violence and normal violence.
Okay, I disagree with that part.
Okay. Because you've watched 4 episodes now.
Yeah.
So you've done way more research than anyone who's actually, like, who wrote those articles or anything.
No, it's like, they showed just enough of that part to sort of, to give people an idea of what was happening, but they didn't glorify it, they didn't sexualize it, they didn't make it look appealing at all. And people who say that they did, it's just grasping at straws. Honestly, like, I feel like... Honestly, no one would have given a shit if that scene wasn't there, and people are just being like way too sensitive about it, I think. I mean if it was like PG-13 and stuff, okay, I get it. Like if I had been watching and that just came up without me knowing what I was getting into, it would have probably shocked me a little bit. But like at the same time, like we also have anime like Attack on Titan and stuff, and there's gonna be like gruesome, gory shit out there. It's not surprising.
Based on what people said, though, I think the answer is really quite clear. It's just that people are just super uncomfortable with rape. Yeah. I really think that's what it comes down to, and I get it, but, I mean, I don't know, like, it's weird. Multiple people got murdered, dead. They are deceased, and yet the rape is the thing that people are more focused on. Like, I get it. It's people... Frankly, people just care more about sexual violence than just straight up murder and stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really all there is to it.
I think it's because when there's sexual assault, like, you know, the victim can still talk about how bad it was, but if someone's dead, they're fucking dead.
Yeah, I guess there's kind of a finality to murder that makes us kind of not care as much.
We're sort of desensitized. I think I did not pronounce that right.
There's no murder survivors groups like becoming activists and talking about how bad murder is. So.
Which is kind of that really sucks, because like we should be I would say opposing murder more than we're opposing rape. I think that's fair to say. I think one is a worse crime.
Or at the very least,
maybe not, because
equally?
there is no... I don't know. I'm confused.
They're both terrible crimes, basically. But okay, so the controversy aside, though, it's an interesting anime. I'm actually interested to see where they're going. I guess, like, minor spoilers. I'm not sure what I'm exactly
spoilers.
Gonna say.
They're gonna slay some goblins.
Basically.
Indeed.
I really like the character of the Goblin Slayer. He's just, like, not there, and he's so calm and just like, yes, affirmative, basically sort of character. And then later on you find out his backstory, which is very brief. Like, they didn't go, into weepy story time. But
you don't really need it.
Yeah, but it was just enough to know the fact. And like, I think because they didn't, like, the way they framed it is like, it's a story that a lot of people share. He's not the only one. He's not the special little boy. Everyone, a lot of people have to go through this pain. And yet people still dismiss goblins as like not a big threat. And therefore he dedicates himself to slaying the goblins because no one else does.
That was definitely a thing that a lot of people in the controversy were saying, that like because all those characters in episode 1 are they're sort of framed to be like our main character party guys. And then people felt so sidelined by the fact that, like, oh my god, guys, these characters, like, they didn't get fleshed out enough, and, like, it was so weird to just watch them all die. When, like, I get why they're thinking, but that is the point of Goblin Slayer, to make you recognize.
Have they watched Overlord, specifically season 3 Overlord?
Probably not.
I was in pain. I was in torment.
Why? What happened? I haven't seen it.
People died. And I like those people. We barely met them, and but we knew enough about them to emphasize and empathize. And with me and empathizing with things, and it's just it was terrible. Like I guess small spoilers for season 3 of Overlord. There's this girl, and she has like she's from a noble family. And but they're falling on rough times, and her parents are refusing to give up the noble life, so she has to go adventuring to settle debts.
Oh boy,
but she has like, no more. I'm gonna take my sisters, and they're like 2 younger sisters. They're both twins. It's like, I'm gonna take my sisters and leave after this mission, and they go on this mission, and she dies. She not only dies, her body gets divided upon like the minions of the Overlord, and her voice was given to like one of the maids. It's horrifying. And then we get the scene where like the 2 little sisters like, oh, I hope she comes back soon, I can't wait, we're going on a trip when she comes back. And it's just like, you had to go there.
They're pulling on your heartstrings. It's funny, this whole Goblin Slayer thing, because I haven't seen the show. I don't give a fuck, whatever. I think I always thought like the reactions to like rape and stuff is overblown, because like the shows that they talk about, it's never portraying rape as a good thing. It's always done as like a, hey, look how fucking bad this is.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
that's the thing.
We're all on the same page about that. Like, do you know that the villains in stories do bad things? That's why they're villains. That's always been my position about it. Like, let them do the bad things. That just further reinforces
like,
the fact that these are bad and shouldn't be done. This is a character you don't want to like doing something you don't like.
Yeah, and there's technically a reason why they do it, because I think what it is, there are no female goblins, so they have to do this to reproduce, more children.
It's in their nature. That's correct.
All right, that's kind of like disgusting, but also interesting. But like, here's the thing I was gonna say. Can you imagine? With all this Goblin Slayer bullshit, can you imagine if the final episode of Berserk 97 aired today? The shit show would be amazing.
The thing is, the rape of Casca is an extremely fappable scene. if you can just like look past the darkness that's happening. But the thing is, that is kind of the point, because It is an incredibly complex situation, and I talked about this in my videos about Griffith and stuff. Like, I said it before, and I stand by it. It almost kind of looks like Casca is enjoying it, and it's on purpose, because Casca is experiencing so many emotions. She has loved Griffith, and she's finally having sex with him, and like it's. look, rape's bad. How many times do you have to say it? But like, there's complex things going on here,
and that's what makes the scene like so like discomforting.
It's literally art. It's literally art. And look, I'm sorry if like you have, for whatever, it's a personal thing or whatever, like you just can't stand rape. I get it, but like other people can stand it and can like, you know, appreciate the complex stuff being gotten at here. And I just like, it's literally Marge Simpson turning off the TV and saying like, I don't enjoy this, so no one can enjoy this. This is fictional, you know, there is no one actually being hurt. But the thing is, all of this is propagated on, all the outrage for Goblin Slayer and, you know, the whole thing about Berserk and all that stuff. It all comes from, I do think it comes from people perceiving the sexualization of the scene and like the almost glorification of it. Because I actually do think that the author, having read the manga, I've read a lot of the manga, I do think that the author is kind of sort of glorifying and sexualizing the scene. I do think that is happening. The thing is, though, I just don't mind it because I'm aware that, like, it's like, yeah, he's slipping in a little titillation into the scene that's really fucked up. I do think that's happening. But like, how could he even avoid it? The man is an artist. He is a mangaka. This is a fictional thing that's happening. No one is actually being hurt. But here's the thing. This is why I understand why people deviate from my opinion on this. It's because the people who are outraged, they perceive rape culture to be real. And they think that like, okay, this is it. This is what is propagating rape culture. And they see it and they think to themselves, this is going to hurt people because this is making the problem worse. You know, it's
not
encouraging
true.
it.
How much have we seen people being killed on screen and in video games and yada yada? And like, I don't think... sorry, it's just my head.
I mean, that's the reasonable place to go to from there.
It's because it's like I said, it's because there's nobody left alive who can talk about how bad being murdered is.
Yeah, but like, I mean, like the statistics, it's not just because you see like people killing other people on screen or in games or joke about murder or even suicide, whatever. It's not. Like, it hasn't shaped the society to be okay with it. It's still bad. It's still against the law, and it's still a terrible thing.
And, like, we shouldn't forget that, like, I mean, it's obvious, and this was said before, but, like, the point of Goblin Slayer is these things are so evil with what they're doing that Goblin Slayer is here to destroy them completely for what they have done. It like, the thing is, it is a literal anti-rape message, I guess. It is anti, but the sexualization nugget in it, people like feminists and people who are really, you know, on this stuff, they'll think like, you know, they say that they're saying that they're anti-rape, but really they're glorifying it with this, with the sexy ladies here on screen. It's like, ooh, yeah, that's good. Let's go do that, team.
But it's like, it literally shows the goblins to be a bigger threat than people to give them credit for. And, like, how nasty and vile and terrible they really are. I think that's the point. That's why the shock is. Like, these goblins that everyone dismisses as just little nuisances, they are actually these cretins. I think that's the word.
You've just got to talk. Like, when people disagree, I always think it's important to, when there's a debate, to agree on the terms of the debate. And to be able to articulate the other person's message. I think people who object to the show would concede that, like, yes, the fact that Goblin Slayer is murdering them, like, yes, it's against that. It's showing it in that way. But they would also argue that, like, it is also true that the show is maybe even covertly, or maybe they'd say it's like unconscious, like patriarchal, you know, whatever stuff coming out, that it is also kind of sexualizing and glorifying it in, you know, these ways.
Sexualized. Like, there weren't any sort of specific shots that I could really point to that were like...
That's the funny thing, though. In the anime, because the anime is different from the manga. The manga is more explicit. But in the anime, like, we don't see actual rape happening on screen, though it's implied to be happening and going on, you know. Yep. But, like, we do see a girl get her clothes ripped off, and she is an anime girl, which means that she's pretty attractive. So, like, how does one negotiate this to like make it clear what's happening, but not to titillate the audience?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Make her unattractive.
I guess make them ugly or unattractive. Or I guess you could like not show her body as much, if you like kind of show that like clothes are being ripped off but you don't show her on screen.
I don't even think that would matter. I think it's the idea itself has to be purged.
Yeah, I feel like even if the author had made all the steps to make it as least attractive as possible, people would still have a cow about the scene existing.
Like, it could have just been, like, the Goblin Slayer showing up and someone ran up to him, some random, just like, my wife was raped by goblins, and that would be bad enough.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Like, if the show was exactly the same, but we just didn't even address the whole goblin rape question, and we just showed goblins murdering people, I don't think anyone would complain. I think there would be no complaints.
Yeah,
which
basically.
Is, I mean, people just get fucked up about this stuff.
Yeah, like I said, like we have stuff like Attack on Titan. Have you guys seen Attack on Titan?
Yeah, like nobody complains about the violence in Attack on Titan, even though it's horrific. And yeah.
It's just weird. It's a weird thing how
as
that
a culture
works.
We just get really fucked up about like sexual stuff.
Yeah, basically my stance was 4 episodes in, minus that whole controversy nonsense. It's an interesting show. I like it.
I'm a huge fan of the manga, so I'm glad to hear that.
I'm a really big fan of like fantasy sort of RPG sort of things, and you know, it's set in that sort of world where like they have a guild, they have like a system with low levels, and they take on quests, and there's magic, and it's like all the things I like, but it's also a very gritty sort of depiction of it, and that's what I find interesting.
That's kind of the point. I'm gonna predict something. Actually, most likely no one will ever care about Goblin Slayer as much again, and like I doubt, like just because people care about stuff that's new, they don't really care about stuff that's old. But I'm just gonna like, if we continue the same train of logic of objecting to this stuff later on in the series, there is a character called the Sword Maiden who is like, she's like a legendary warrior and she's a total badass, and she's extremely like curvaceous and like sexualized and stuff, and like that's fine. I don't think people would really complain about that. But the thing is, canonically, she was a rape victim of goblins, and it's that like way in her past this happened to her. It was only after that she like got strong and like became like a badass sword maiden and then like defeated the evils of the world and stuff. But she's still kind of fucked up about goblins. The thing is though, like, I don't know. I feel like the thing is, you can choose to find offense with anything. So, like, here's a thought. Maybe, like, rape victims will be offended by this character because, like, oh, yeah, she just got over her trauma. Look at them trivializing rape victims here. Of course. You know, like, but the thing, and then on the other hand, this character still has flashbacks to this event. So, like, she isn't completely over it. Somebody else might say, oh, look at us. They're telling us that we can never get over our trauma. Like, what a problematic. There's no way to win with the topic. Yeah. I don't know what the answer is. The answer is freedom, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. No,
like,
but
it's libertarianism.
That's the thing.
Mind your fucking own business and relax.
It's the idea of like these, because like people who are this bent out of shape about it are just going to say the only answer is like this stuff is off limits. It cannot be talked about. It cannot be done. But take it seriously.
Basically, if you felt uncomfortable by a good job, that's what they were trying to do, I think.
Yeah, it's just a question of people maybe don't like to feel discomfort or something. I mean, I don't know. Like I think people's outrage makes sense if they have a worldview that I don't think makes sense. So, like...
Right. That's the whole problem with discussion nowadays anyways. There's like, the baseline is different. So, like...
that's right.
We're not even having the same conversation as, like, the people we're talking about would be having. Like, so it's, like, it's impossible to come to terms.
I'm not saying you're supposed to like it or whatever. Like, you definitely don't have... it was not meant to be liked, this scene. But, like... Come to terms with the fact that this scene exists for a reason, and the reason is not to titillate people. It's just...
I mean...
so don't be outraged about
remember
that.
How people were connecting the goblins to the Jews, and were just, like, throwing out that whole business?
Were
like,
they?
You guys didn't hear... I mean, you know, I guess I won't drop any names, but there were some videos out there that specifically said, like, big nose little vermin that this guy wants to literally genocide and wipe out? Where have I heard that before? And it's just like, guys, you need to relax. There are no connections here.
Don't own big noses. Oh my god.
That kind of says more about the people who are looking into it. You know?
Yeah,
I know that's been said a million times, but still.
It reminds me of that whole Apu controversy.
Oh my god! And you hear he's gone. You hear that he's gone.
Yeah.
I love how there was this amazing brain dump that came out like a week before that just like totally cleaned the clock of this whole thing. It's like, yeah, of course, this is ridiculous. And like a week later, like, and it's gone.
It's just, where does this logic end? Because now they're saying that minorities need to be displayed within a very narrow parameters that are of what's acceptable. And like, who exactly is the arbiter of what's acceptable and what's not? Because Apu, at this point, is a well-developed and rich character. But now, because he has, I guess, roots in like his accent and the fact that he's voiced by a white guy, we're just opening the door here and opening the floodgates to let like people police. This is, I don't know, man. I just don't think this is the right direction for the people to be going with this kind of stuff.
It's tiring.
Feels very wrong.
I'm tired.
Yeah, okay. You know what?
I want to go lay down and forget about humanity for a while.
Well, hang on. Before we do that, we've got a couple of voicemails to listen to.
Oh, yeah, okay. Please, cheer us up.
Let's go to it. I think we got 7 here today. All right, here we go, people.
7's
enough libertarian politics for one day. Let's get over here and listen to our boy, No Thank You. And by the way, if you listen to the bonus episode, or the last episode, No Thank You is the guy who made the the Halloween theme for the PCP. So wasn't that cool?
It's not used in the bonus episode.
It's not? Oh, okay. No. Well, it's in the last PCP episode. So there you go. Let's listen.
Hey guys, so I made a little remix of the PCP theme. It goes like this.
Okay. So far, so good. I like track influence beats. Oh no!
Yes!
There it is. Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
That's great.
Shit.
Thank you.
need to add that in immediately.
Yeah, we got to start using that one instead. That was.
I love it. I love it.
All right, moving on. Next is not comical Mew, I swear. I don't know what that means. Not comical Mew, I swear. Okay, so maybe comical Mew is somebody else. I don't know.
Anyone else?
What this one is. Yeah, anyone else? Yeah.
Nate hasn't uploaded anything forever. Ben hasn't uploaded anything forever. Digibro's slowing down. Spooky scary bullshit month is ending. Hippo's stopped. Lethal hasn't uploaded anything in forever.
Uh-oh.
Tommy's dev stuff is about to end. I'm getting serious PCP withdrawals, man. I'm getting serious withdrawals, man.
I feel
I'm fucking freaking out. I have to Patreon just to get any more content. Seriously, fucking help me.
I was gonna say,
die.
All right, that's enough from this friend. I was gonna say, $5 to the Patreon to get all those sweet bonus episodes, of which there's 19 now. There's at least one bonus episode coming that you haven't heard yet, friend, if you're listening to this. So do that. It's true. These are all true. The content is slowing down a little bit. For me, it's because I'm working on like bigger, more complicated projects, and I want to do Weagawa stuff more, but I just don't have the fucking time to get everything done I need to get done every week. Basically, no, he's right, but I'm working on it. What's your excuse, Nate, everybody else?
Nate, you just gotta stop skateboarding so much.
I won't. I need to get that Pokemon Go stop every day, damn it.
All right, question. Why don't you just do a Weagawa while you're skateboarding? Just record, get a lav mic, and just talk about something while you're skateboarding. And just Weagawa all the time.
There's something to be said that I've kind of fallen into a trap with Weagua, where like the point of the series was to get a video done every week about something and like to make it cool, to like make it good, reasonably speaking. But the most important thing was just to get a video out every week. At the time, I took the format.
You failed.
Well, I did for a good long while. Like I was doing it well. Currently, it's not living up to its name, which is fair. But I just styled it after the Mia Maffova content that I was doing and just kept doing that. And I've still been doing that. I've sort of fallen into a trap where I'm just like, now I feel I'm forced to live up to like a certain standard where the like quality's kind of creeping up. Like the last ones I was like in Hawaii for, the one after that I wasn't. Yeah, I need to get them done.
I think your old habits are creeping back in. I think the whole point of Weagua was you wanted to get it done first, and the quality wasn't like, not that the quality is not important, but like I think you're obsessing over the intimate details that aren't necessary. I think you should just go back, make weekly, do what you can in a week, and people will be fine with it. And you just need to break your own conditioning. It's like sugar. You're addicted to video sugar. Get off that shit. Protein.
There's definitely something to be said for that. And I should seriously consider that stuff. Right now, I'm not even thinking about it because I'm doing something else. But once this current thing is done, I will have to think seriously about that. There might not be one till the end of the year, depending on how things go.
My God.
I know. It's disgraceful. But
Why I'm a Genius yearly. All right. New series.
I'm working on it, people. All right, that's enough about this shit. I'll get back to you.
I'm still doing stuff every week. Devlogs every week after the end of Devtober. Working on the game. It's going to keep going. This is my life now. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to do lots more. I'm getting back into doing more 3D modeling stuff once this demo / alpha / whatever ends up being is out. Is that going to be out
by the end of the month? Will it be out now as people are listening?
I don't think so. My plan is to have something public facing out on November 8th because that's when I turn 30. I want to have something cool out. I need something to like to take off the sting of being an old fuck.
Damn,
so that's what this is.
That's actually a really good goal. I like that a lot. I should do something similar when I turn 30. It'll be 2 years, people. 2 years.
God. Jealous.
That's cool. How about you, Mage? What's your excuse? Where's your content?
It's a very long excuse. I don't want to get into it.
Okay, fair enough.
There's a lot of small things that just kind of piled up together, basically.
If you want to get us to make more content, the easiest way is to give us more time. The best way to have more time is to have more money. I'm just saying.
Well, that's true. That's for you guys. For me, it didn't matter how much money you threw at me.
Mage, I'm trying to help you out here. I'm trying to give you free money.
Just lie to the Mage. Just lie to them. That's the answer.
I feel bad.
Mage needs more convincing. The way to get more convincing is give me more time to convince her. The way to give me more time to convince her is to give me the money you want to give her.
You ain't wrong, brother. All right, let's go to our next one here. One Spar's back with another message.
One Spar.
All right.
One Spar, hit us, boy.
Hey guys, just here at home, walking around, sipping some coffee this morning, and I think I came up with a pretty good idea for a new PCP intro. Give it a listen. Tell me what you think.
There's a lot of these so far.
Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me.
I've heard enough. That's enough. Thank you, One Spar. You're fired. I think there was actually something at the end of that.
Do you think there's an underlying message here that the new PCP theme has a strong undercurrent of detractors?
There's something going on with that. Maybe we should, I don't know, revisit this issue. I'm always open to revisiting stuff. Why
did you guys vote for it? Like, no offense to the person who made it. It was good, but like,
fuck
not
you,
the best.
Mage. Everybody liked it.
No, not everybody. Not everybody.
Sasuke Pro, Mage is talking mad shit on you right
I
now.
am not. Yeah.
Please send her a scathing email about how she's bullying you online.
I'm not.
Okay.
I just didn't like a thing as much as you guys did.
Well, fair enough. And actually, you'll see him in the comments every once in a while being like, yeah, thank God you shortened it today. I fucking hate my own song.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that was going to be the case, you probably should have thought about that before you decided to make it an intro of a podcast 100+ episodes deep.
I mean, frankly, it's our fault, not his, I guess, if it is truly shit. Well, whatever. All right, here we go.
There's blame to go around.
Okay, here we go. Next one's from I Really Mean It. is another message. All right. Do it.
Okay. Members of the PCP, hear me now as I whisper to you in divine tones. You will all look yourselves in the mirror and decide who you want to be today, tomorrow, and when you are no longer here. We all have a legacy, and I'll have fever dreams about you guys when I am in the retirement home.
Oh, was he playing the xylophone while he recorded that?
Maybe.
I hope so.
I don't.
I don't want to look at the mirror though.
Oh, ouch.
I don't like the person that stares back at me.
Oh Christ! Damn, that's serious.
That's like the opposite of what that message is about. It's about becoming your best self, Mage.
For me, it's like that clip of that movie. Sure, what was that show? Like Time Warp, Time Leap, or something, where the guy's like, "Am I retarded?" And then he looks in the mirror, and then like he's in like a Down syndrome guy's body. That's me. So I avoid looking in the mirror as well.
Quantum Leap? Was it Quantum Leap?
It was Quantum Leap. That's the one.
Mage, I got a fix for you, by the way. Quick fix for the mirror. Paint it purple.
Oh, that's a good idea. Put a purple filter over it.
Yeah.
Is that a physical thing, Mage, or is that like an emotional thing? Like
both.
Both. Okay. Well, that's sad. I'd say work on that in some way, if possible.
Yeah, please.
I am. I've made peace with my loathing of myself. So.
Well, that's always good to hear. All right, next
Making
up.
peace is step 1. Step 2 is declaring war on it and crushing it entirely.
I'll hit it when it doesn't see it.
Exactly.
You know, I actually do think about his points fairly frequently. Like, when I look back, like, will I look back on, like, for example, Weagawas with much love? Some of them a bit, some of them not as much. Like I mean, you know, what's my best work? You know, like for me, I think my best work is like the Gurren Lagann videos. I really like my Final Fantasy 15, what is it? Unchained, Unflamed, whatever it was. I love that video. I don't know. Some of the the musical stuff, like the Smash Bros stuff, I really love. I don't know. So like yeah, I do think about like what do I want to like have my legacy be in terms of like YouTube, and then also like what's the point of the content overall? Like entertainment is good and that's a valuable service, but I mean, whatever. I've talked about this a bunch. You know, I like to think that I'm making a positive difference in the world and not just, you know, being.
My whole goal right now, and the reason I stopped doing YouTube pretty much entirely, is because I was just like, well, the only thing I care about is like, am I going to be satisfied when I'm dying that what I did in my life was worth it? Yeah. And YouTube was not the answer. So I was like, well, I won't make as much money by not shilling on YouTube, but fuck it. The money's not going to make me happy when I'm fucking dying of cancer from cell phone radiation exposure at 45. Yeah. It's like we're all going to die that way.
It's a balancing act. Because like, I mean, for me, I'm currently sacrificing large amounts of my time to work at my day job programming, which is fine, but none of it is really adding to much of a legacy that I value particularly much. But I'm basically sacrificing that time to obtain the money that I feel will allow me to springboard into, you know, doing that stuff more and building something that I value and I'm glad that I worked on and stuff. So, I don't know. Like, there's a balancing act, I guess. You don't want to, like, literally die. And then you, like, because if you literally die making your art, then you won't get as much made. And so that might be less. But on the other side, if you spend too long working on your normie job or whatever, and you save up a bunch of money and then you switch, then, like, maybe you've wasted too much of your life, you know, if you've done that and you're coming out below what you would have done if you just done it.
It's a struggle for sure.
Yeah, I'll also, you know, thought about such things, but I'm sort of like I said, I'm sort of at peace with the idea of like, I don't regret my life up till this point, even though I feel like I wasted a lot of it, though, you know, define wasted. I'm happy with what I've done in a way, but at the same time, I know that I'm just another drop in the ocean. I'm not going to break any new grounds, or there's not going to be much left of me once I leave this place. So
we kind of
not with that attitude, Mage. Come on.
But I'm okay with that. I mean, not everyone is born to be a name in the history books, you know?
Like, take for example, like, look at like Toby Fox, for example. So sure, right now, Undertale is a huge meme. Like, it's a good game. Everybody likes it. And, you know, whatever. And it's a meme. So people talk about it a lot. will Undertale make much difference in the long run of like humanity? You know, will it? Because like it's pretty almost objective that like Undertale, for example, is like more influential than like all of us. So like, okay, fair enough. But even something like Undertale, like it's just a game, right? So like, will it? What does it matter?
It has been given as a present to the Pope. So.
Right. So it cured world peace. Finally, was solved. We did it.
No, I think Undertale does like I think it has staying potential. It's definitely going to be remembered in many years by a lot of people, and who knows when
everything's relative, I guess. Yeah, because like when the heat death of the universe happens, like literally nothing will remain. So, you know,
except Undertale. Except
Undertale, yeah. Him and the Pope will be floating out in space with this copy of Undertale.
The heat death of the universe is Sans.
It is Sans, yeah.
Sans wrath.
It's a heavy topic. It's a heavy topic. I don't know. Just try. I say, try to make the world around you a better place. Don't be a burden on the people that you know or that you care about. Be of benefit to them. And there's lots of ways to be of benefit, not strictly financial. There's lots of ways to do it. So as long as you feel that you're contributing and that you're making the world better around you than it was when you get there, as opposed to worse. Neutral is okay, but you want to be a plus.
Find a place you're happy with.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This is from Rupt.
So much for making us happier.
Okay, so bullying. Did you guys ever get bullied on high school, middle school, or shit like that? And like, I'm not trying to be repetitive because you guys probably got a lot of this question on Twitter back the day, but it's just that I don't understand how bully works because just fucking fight the guy. I mean, okay, like fighting a bully is exactly a win-win situation because either the guy can lose to you or you can be seen as a hero who fought a fucking bully and like people will like you because people don't like bullies in general. It's just a question. Like I don't understand how bully works.
I like this.
It's probably because it's a US problem and I live in South America, but it's just a fucking question. Bye. I love you guys.
I'm not in the US, but okay.
Right.
That's true. Well, okay.
I can answer this question. The people who are targeted by bullies, by people, especially in the West, they're targeted because they're pussies and they're not going to fight back.
Yes, that's true.
That cut out for me. I didn't hear. They're targeted what?
The people who get targeted by bullies, they get targeted because they're pussies and they won't fight back.
For the most part, yeah.
I can tell you my story with bullying. There was a girl, I think she was my age, I'm not sure. She got on my case for who knows what. Really no reason at all. And she was smaller than me, so you'd think I'd have no problem. However, the problem with her was she was never alone. She was always with guys, like, let's say I was 14 and she was 14, and she was with guys 19 years old, way bigger than me, at least two of them at each side with her. At no point was I able to sort of fight her back, and even, actually, I did fight her back, and she kneed me in the forehead with her knee. And it wasn't just physical, you know, and it was also psychological. She psychologically tormented me, and the fact that she wasn't in school or in my neighborhood, I could never see her coming. I didn't know when I'm gonna meet her, but she was never alone, and whenever I did, it was never in a public place where people could help me. It was mortifying. It was just like I never felt so helpless when I was in my life. She sort of like, I think she was kind of like what broke the, jokingly violence streak in a way.
Sure. Did you, I'm just curious, did you like talk to like your parents or like school people or anything like that?
Well, school people are irrelevant. She wasn't in my school. I did talk to my mom once or twice. I told her about it. My mom tried to help, and we actually went one time. She, saw the bruise on my forehead, so we went out and tried to find her, and we did find her, and she talked to her, and she was giving my mom such a shit-eating grin that my mom couldn't help herself and smacked her across the face.
Whoa!
But because of
Hell
that,
yeah.
we weren't able to go to the police because my mom would get in trouble for hitting a minor.
God, all right, she kind of blew it by doing that because it would have been good to go to the police.
The violence runs in the family. Holy shit.
Yeah.
The next time, I think the last time I saw her was during camp. Not the same year as the whole incident with the arms things. But that was, I
should have
think,
dropped her off a 2-story list.
I almost ended up in the same building as her, but thankfully we didn't. So for the whole week, my mission was to avoid her at all costs, to let her know that I was there. But for the last, I think, 2 days, I blew it. Or rather, it wasn't my fault. It was my counselors of the house fault, because he was almost he was a helper, so I think he was a teenager, almost an young adult person, and there were some, for lack of a better word, skanks in my house that were just literally sucking up to him, probably.
Sucking up to him, lads.
So he was very much on their side, and they were friends with that girl, so I had no chance.
Women's sexual advantages can definitely be weaponized in situations like this. It's a unique advantage. Like, if a guy comes to you and has an issue, and a girl disagrees, and she'll fuck you, I'm just saying. Who are you gonna go with in that situation?
I did complain to the higher ups at the camp, and the person I complained to, she was in charge of our house, and she said she lived in the same neighborhood as the girl, and it's just like, oh, but she never seemed like she was trouble, and I'm like, but she is, and they couldn't really help.
Two-faced bitch.
Basically, it just sounds like to the guy's question. It's just like they find people who can't defend themselves in this way. Like they specifically target people who seem vulnerable, because if they. Yeah, like if you're a real bully, like if you find someone who gives you resistance, you don't bully them, you bully someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I don't like. I guess I see his point. I guess like just fucking. Fight
I got bullied
them,
in high school all the time because I was a pathetic little bitch, and and it was not cool.
It's not like
it's totally my fault. I blame myself.
The bullies in the movies and children's cartoons, whatnot, the way they're portrayed, it looks so easy that all you have to do is stand up to them and be top dog and stuff like that. But it doesn't work out like that. Even if you beat them today, then you have to beat them the next day and the next day.
The thing about a bully is inherently immoral with what they're doing. So, like, if you, like, beat up a bully, they will go play the victim, and then you have become the aggressor.
Or they'll get their friends to help beat you up the next time. It's not going to be a fair fight next time.
Right. I mean, that's definitely true. I was never, I don't know, I lived a pretty coddled childhood, and I was never really bullied. But there was one time I had a pogo stick.
Beating the crap out of Ben.
Oh, well, yeah, I was the bully in that
Just
situation.
kicking him.
He loved
reason.
it, though. There was one time in middle school, like 6th grade or something, when... I had a pogo stick for some reason. I was pogo sticking in class when I shouldn't have been, just for fun. Why? And this guy, I stop. He looks over me and he just calls me. I think he's white. I could be wrong. He just calls me Nigger. He just calls me that, and I'm just like, what?
Okay.
What do you mean, sir? What's that about? And I didn't understand. I knew what the word meant at that point, but I didn't know what that was about. But that was the extent of it. He just called me that and then moved on. I didn't get like harassed. I didn't get like physically assaulted or anything of that nature. So I was pretty lucky.
I feel like he'd heard his dad say that word. It's like, I want to try this out in real life.
Yeah, probably something like that. I think he was white. Like I don't know. He had slightly tan-ish skin. It's probably like Armenian or something. I don't know. Yeah. So that's it for me, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll just go on to the next fucking call here. Oh, did I already play this one? Yeah, that was Rupt. Okay, next one is Vacuum. All right, we got 2 more here. All right, let's get this shit rolling.
So Nate recommended this book called The 48 Laws of Power. It's a fucking sick read. Really, really fun to read. Super inspiring. Also, no one else is allowed to read it. This book is cut off from the public now. If anyone tries to
precious.
read it, I will fouché your ass, if you know what I'm saying.
I take offense to this voicemail because I'm the one who recommended the 48 Laws of Power because I was reading it and it's fucking great.
I think he, like, I did meme, like, I quoted a Sam Hyde joke about the 48 Laws of Power. I have not actually read the book, though I would like to. I've heard it's good. I mean,
it's fantastic.
Yeah. It's good. But, but speaking of power, just, you probably are aware of this, but it was interesting, Tom, that with that bullying thing, you said that you blamed yourself for getting bullied. And, like, I get what you're saying. And surely you're aware that, like, if someone murders you because you're, I don't know, like walking out late in a bad neighborhood, like, sure, you can blame yourself, but like the bad person is more so the other person. So it's like it's smart to take responsibility for the bad things to happen to you because only you can change your own behavior. But of course, like, morally speaking, it's the aggressor.
Morally, but
There's
my situations, the situations I was in were definitely exasperated by my own naivete and general idiocy. So there was a fair bit of my own stupidity that made a lot of these things happen.
I think it reminds me of, like,
I sort of disagree with it. I mean, like, sort of like there's an extent of responsibility you can take, but also you can't take all of the responsibility. For instance, with my bully that's tormented you throughout the years, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, all I did was talk to her once, and it was because I took some advice about someone saying, "Oh, you should stand up to yourself more because you're so meek." Yeah. And I did. I took that stupid advice. I think what happened is, like, I never knew her. We never saw each other before, and she had the gall to sort of call after me and be like, "Hey, you have stupid shoes," or something like that.
Lol.
And I snapped something back at her, and that's what started it. And now, because of that, did I deserve all that? Did I deserve all of that torment she gave me?
Well,
I don't think so.
Like, in the Machiavellian sense, like, I'm sure there were tactical moves that one could make to theoretically, like, resolve the situation. And I would never say morally you're responsible. It's just that, like, maybe there were things that could be done that if you had known about, maybe if you, like, literally had future sight, you could know what would work and what wouldn't. And so, like, like, in the grand scheme of, like, the cause and effect of one's entire life, like, yes, you are quote unquote responsible for what happens. Just like sure, like a kid who's born, like, in the poorest fucking region of Africa and starves to death. Like, okay, maybe there's something he could have done to, like, get him out of that if, whatever, he had, like, known what to do at certain times. But, like, no one would ever blame the kid for, like, what happened to him or anything. It's kind of a, I don't know, where it's not, whatever. You get the point. So, yep. I mean, like, there's this book that I haven't read, but I've been hearing more about. And Casey Neistat made a video about the author recently. What's it called? I think it's Extreme Responsibility, or no, Extreme Ownership, I think is what it's called. It's just about, like, completely owning. It's kind of more for, like, leaders in life, like owning your subordinates' mistakes and stuff, and taking complete responsibility for everything that happens to you. I believe in that philosophy a lot, in thinking, like, I'm always saying, like, nobody gives a fuck about you in this world. It's up to you to make it or to die in the streets. And that's because, like, tactically speaking, it's up to you to manage your life 100%. Like, nobody else is going to do it, and you cannot expect help. But there's a separate thing to, like, condemn bad actors. Like, the world shouldn't be bad and full of, like, evil people who do bad things, but those people have their own motivations. You can't control them. You can only control yourself. So it's just about assessing the reality while recognizing that things are bad, and you can do both those things at once, I think. So, yeah. I don't know. I think we all agree. I'm probably just going in circles here anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that wasn't really that guy's question. What did Vacuum ask again? He was asking about, like,
he was just mentioning a book. He liked the book, and no one else.
48 Laws of Power.
Right.
Yeah.
48 Laws of
Power.
Fucking dope. That's right.
No one else is allowed to read it.
Yeah. I mean, the more people that read it, the less effective the book does become. It's true.
Is that true?
Yeah, because, like, it's all about manipulating people. That's what the 48 Laws of Power are all about.
I believe in what's the word? Ethical manipulation of other people.
The introduction to this book is that ethics are bullshit, throw away morality.
Okay, well,
power.
you know.
So
I hear what he's saying, but my compass guides me towards a better future for all people.
Right.
Which
all
I think
48 laws will work on you. Good to know for the future.
You know, that is kind of fascinating. How does one read this book and get to that first lesson about like discard morality? Like Machiavelli and The Prince, or I think it has like another translation. Whatever, people know it as The Prince. The Prince is about like it's not saying discard morality. It's saying I think play the tactical game.
Exactly. That's what this book says too. It's the same thing. It's like it's amoral. You just have to apply it as best you can.
Which
like don't
I
think
don't
about
think,
it in terms of moral.
I don't think you can like that makes you immoral to follow its advice or anything. It's about what you do with it. I'd say
you have to like disregard because like a lot of the if you read the book with a moral lens, everything in it is like reprehensible. But if you read it, it's just like these are tactics in like the game that we're all playing, whether we want to or not. It's a strategy guide.
I was gonna say because in regards to The Prince, it's specifically made for up and coming rulers and like people who expect to like control, you know, populations and stuff. And like the thing is, it's literally impossible to be like perfectly moral when you're a ruler, because every move you make will help some people and will like sort of punish other people. Like, for example, if you're a dictator of the world right now, like, what do you do about the coal industry and the fact that we're losing coal jobs? Those coal workers are suffering, but like we kind of want to get away from coal. So like, what's the solution? Like I guess the solution is like retrain those people in jobs that like they, you know, can do, that is for like a more, you know, green, economically sustainable pathway forward. But like, what about the people who don't want to stop doing coal and they just won't? Like, what do you do? The answer is some people get fucked is the answer.
I mean, that is the I think that's the ethical thing. If like if your business goes away and you refuse to stop doing it, then perish, tinted Obama image. Like that's that's just like you're an idiot. You know?
I mean, you're right. Like that's what's going to happen in the real world. So like you could choose to live idealistically, or you could think about what are the optimal ways to live your life and, you know, strategize for them. And I'm aware that a lot of like, oh, coal's going away, just get another job. But like where that runs into conflict is like you got people who are like, man, my daddy's been a coal miner and his daddy, this is what I was born to do. I'm a human, man. Like humans to some degree are built to settle down doing something, you know, once they hit a certain age and stuff. It's pretty fucked up to ask people just to change their whole life at a certain point. And a lot of people I think can't handle it, understandably.
But you just have to, you know,
you just
like,
have
there's no getting around it. Like, sorry, you know.
Life ain't fair. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's not.
All right, we got one more fucking message from it's from Drunk Nardwar. Let's see what he has for us. Nardwar, I enjoy your interviews. What's up?
Hey, procrastinators, guys. I just wanted to say you guys are the fucking coolest.
Hey,
not
thanks.
Cool, really. Kind of fucking gay, actually. You guys,
what
this
is soon, right?
podcast is the best friendship simulator man could ask for. I don't get out much. I don't have no friends. But when I'm listening to the Procrastinators podcast, I feel like I have friends. I feel like a real boy. Feel like
Where's he going with this?
I think I understand why he doesn't have friends.
Yeah.
Keep on rocking in the free world and do.
Do, Nardwar. I get it.
Wow, amazing.
That was an interesting call, and
that was pretty intense.
It makes me think about the ethics of making a friendship simulator, such as this podcast. Like, because let's say this podcast didn't exist and no podcast existed, and this man had, like, he didn't have, I don't know, like video games, he didn't have TV, he didn't have podcasts, he didn't have anything, and he just sat there lonely. I wonder if he'd be more motivated to go, like, make friends. And so we're kind of doing a disservice, you know? You know what I mean?
What we're doing in the pursuit of power. One of the 48 laws of power.
There you go, Tom.
It's not even exaggerating. One of the laws of power they talk about is to psychologically manipulate people is to find what people are missing in their lives and become it. And that is what we are doing.
See, that makes sense, and that's fair. But again, one can do that in an ethical or a non-ethical way. I think, like, there are some standards one can arrive at. Like, are podcasts immoral because they're making the world a worse place because people are less incentivized to go out and make real human connections and make friendships, which will be infinitely more rewarding than listening to a podcast? Like, sure, it's profitable for us, but then again, how much of the responsibility is on us? I think is a fair question to ask.
Well, I was watching a video last night that just randomly came on. I was watching one of my vlogs, make sure it uploaded correctly, and then autoplay immediately went to this other video that was talking about morality and what can be a moral question. And the two conditions he was talking about in the video was that it has to be a conscious act and it has to have a impact on someone's like not standard of living, but like something that does like with people's happiness, like the good of something.
Okay.
And I would say podcasts do have an effect on people's happiness, but the effect you're talking about of like making people less like interested in going out and finding friends is not a conscious act. So I don't think this would be a moral thing. I think it would just be an amoral effect of podcasts in general, because no one who's making a podcast is actively being like, I'm going to stop you from having friends.
Okay, you know what? That's true. Maybe immoral is the wrong word, but it is fair to ask: is it detrimental to society?
That
makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I just want to say to Drunk Nardwar, try to go, like, he said he has no friends. Okay, fair enough. What have you done recently to work on that? You know, it's the same thing I'd say to a guy who's, like, sad that he doesn't have a girlfriend or whatever. Like, what have you done recently to fix it? Maybe you tried really hard in the past, but, like, have you... Like, here's the thing. When I moved out to Ohio, I just focused on work for a long time. But then after a while, I'm like, you know, I would actually like to, like, make some friends and connections and maybe fuck a bitch, you know, out here once in a while. So... what I did for a while, I never did anything with this because, like, I met Michelle beforehand, and I don't know, just haven't really needed to go out and do stuff since then. But like, I joined a bunch. It's like meetup.com or like meeting.com or something. I think it's meetup.com.
It's Meetup, yeah.
It's just a website where you can like go to meetings and like it's just people who go there. They post about like clubs they have, and they just accept, you know, people who want to come hang out. Like, why try that kind of shit, you know? I think it's totally worth it. If you like don't have like a passion that like gets you up every morning and you're doing it and you like, and even if you do have a passion but it doesn't introduce you to other people, I think people have an inherent need to socialize kind of in person.
Agreed.
So accept that reality about yourself as a human being and coldly, tactically attempt to resolve it.
It's like the great man Aaron Burr said in Hamilton, I am the one thing in life I can control. And that is true for all of us. So go, if you have problems, you can't change the world, you can't change the conditions, but you can change yourself in response to those conditions.
Indeed.
So become better.
Yeah, that's really all there is. And that's really the answer to all these things. It's just, you know, like on an individual level, it's fair to say this to people. But what I just wonder is, like, on a large scale, will these kind of messages actually make the large difference and kind of make society happier and better? I don't know.
I mean, if everybody on
like
an
maybe
individual
people are
level
just
did
too
it,
weak.
Society would change as well.
I mean, yeah, like that's the thing. Every individual could possibly do these things, but on a mass scale, the question is, will they? And will it make the difference?
The problem I've always had with going out and meeting people, and I think I mentioned this in a tweet like last year, and it still kind of holds true, is that the question I had posed was, how do you meet people? How am I supposed to meet people when all the people I'd want to meet are staying in their house on their computer all day like I am?
Good question. Good, because like you've got to ask yourself, like if you do the meetup thing, like one of the things I wanted to join, I know I've said this before, but was a bunch of like atheist like meeting groups and stuff, like the free thinkers of Ohio or something.
Oh man, those guys must be great.
Well, that's the thing. Like, who do you think is at these things? Like, who do you think is there? Who knows?
Atheist activists.
But you know what? I mean, yeah, that's probably true. But here's the thing. Like, sure, maybe everyone there is a nerd, or maybe there's some actually cool people there. Because I'll tell you this, my anime club in college was mostly not great people. I mean, they were fine, but they were not really great friends of mine. I didn't really like them.
I agree completely. Mine was the same.
Like 2 of those anime club meetings, like early on when I first started going, I met like all my friends happened to be there because like these were people who have a passing interest in anime, so they thought they would check it out. This was in sophomore year of college. I met them there, and we became buddies for life. And so, like, it's not like I intersected with people who were like the ideal people at Anime Club who were always there. It's that it was an opportunity to meet like-minded people. And the way to succeed on these things is to take many opportunities because, you know, I don't know, maybe the fucking girl of your dreams, gentlemen, will be like at this fucking atheist hardcore meetup because like maybe her friend dragged her there. She's not really that interested, but she is there that one day. And you got to take that chance. You got to have lots. Yeah. You don't win if
it's
you
just
go
the law of averages.
That's exactly it. I was gonna say even you can lose any one hand of poker, but it's about winning the war long term. You give yourself the chances to meet friends and go do stuff. So for the love of God, get out there and try something. It's so much better than trying nothing. And a lot of people probably have who are sad and sitting at home, but I don't know. Try to mix it up. Take some of these advice.
I will say that, like, I've said this a bunch of times in a bunch of different situations. For me, the hardest part of anything is starting. Yes. Even things that I like every day when I want to work on my game or do art or even that, like things that like I feel are my sole reason for existing, for drawing breath.
Yeah.
It's still, for my mindset, starting and getting that motion going is pain. And it sucks, and I don't want to do it. I'd rather just stay in bed and do nothing and be a piece of shit just because I'm a weak flesh prison person, and it sucks.
Accepting that is the important first step. Yeah.
Like, there was an interesting book called The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, I think it was by. You don't have to read the book because I can sum it up for you in literally like 5 seconds.
Sick.
The idea is that, like, she had stumbled across this idea of, like, if you're, because like what happens is that when you want to do something that's hard, your brain instantly starts making excuses for you to convince you not to do it. There's very rarely a time when you want to do something and your brain will make excuses to do it because we're just all lazy by nature. It sucks. Because we don't want to expend energy because we're all fucking monkeys at the end of the day.
Indeed.
So the idea was that you count in your mind or count out loud backwards from 5. And once you get to 1, you immediately physically move. Even if you do the task you need to do does not require physical movement because the act of counting breaks the mental state that you're in, like making excuses. It forces your brain to stop thinking about those and do something else. And then the physical movement puts you into a different state.
Yeah.
And at that point, you can start doing something.
Those things make that's a good idea. That's a good strategy. Try that, everybody. Try that when it comes to these hard decisions. You know that also
works amazingly well, and it's instantly actionable. It doesn't take any learning.
3, 2, 1, and I'm moving. Yeah, all right. That remind in the extreme ownership thing, like Casey Neistat in his interview with a guy who's like a Marine sergeant or something. He asked him like, "What's one recommendation?" He said like to succeed and like to get up and go and take ownership of your day, because a lot of what he talks about is like success, not just like owning your mistakes, though that they're hand in hand. It's like he's like, it all starts with the first decision of the day. And, like, when you fail on that, you are prepared to fail the rest of the day with, like, all the other challenges you face, and you, like, won't get shit done. But when you succeed at the first challenge of getting up, and then you succeed at the next challenge of, I don't know, making your coffee or having your healthy breakfast or working out or whatever, like, every success encourages you and feeds into the next one. So to succeed from right out of the gate in the morning helps him a lot and can feed into all this kind of positive motion and productivity and stuff. So, yeah, it's a good idea. I'm going to try that. All right. Well, with that was the end of our fucking podcast, I guess, everybody. Any final thoughts? Mage, what do you think about all this?
Oh, what?
And that's it, everybody. Those are Mage's final thoughts in this episode of the Procrastinators podcast. Hey, patreon.com/theprocrastinators. You're going to want to listen to the now dated Halloween episode, the spooky stories that came out on Halloween, on Hallows Eve. So go pay $5 to listen to episode 19 and the prequel. I was going to say subsequent, but I think it's like prequelent episodes. Whatever, you get the idea. And at TB Crastinators on Twitter for all our updates and episode release and stuff. And like and sub and comment here on YouTube as well if you're listening here. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week with some more of this stuff. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.